Welcome to the Plastic Surgery Secrets Talk, a podcast where we go behind the scenes of everything in the plastic surgery and aesthetics world. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Spiegel.
And I'm Dr. Onir from the Spiegel Center just outside of Boston. Today we'll be going over men in plastic surgery.
So before we start, June is Pride Month. So we at the Spiegel Center and Newton Surgery have always been extremely supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. As you know, we've done so many papers and presentations and things promoting LGBTQ plus health and issues, and we're very proud to have made such a difference in people's lives. So for everybody, happy Pride Month in June. And now let's get right to talking about men in plastic surgery.
Well, you're a man in plastic surgery, so what's your take on being a man in plastic surgery and also a male patient in plastic surgery?
Since the cat's out of the bag, yes, I am a patient of Dr. Onir's. Without Dr. Onir's help, I might have looked about 85 years old instead of the 28 that I look
There's
now.
no way you could look 85 years old. You spend your whole day behind closed doors, no windows, so you are well aware that plastic surgeons and surgeons in general tend to look better because they are typically
Naturally
in basements. No, they're typically in the basement.
No?
In our case, you're not in a basement, but you are all day long in the OR, and there's not a lot of sunlight there. So
that's a good point. So sun is, first and foremost, the most damaging thing to the skin. It ages us. It gets rid of collagen, gets rid of elastin. It makes your skin have splotches and dark spots. Sun is beautiful. We love being in the sun. I love the few hours of sun we get each year here in New England. But sunscreen is the key.
Notice you said few hours. You didn't say few weeks, few months.
I know exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
So you have something here to stress sunscreen, and it's June, so it's time for sun. Show us what you've got there.
So you actually created the Dr. Spiegel aesthetics. And the bottle is not very clean because I use it every day.
Because we use it. Yeah, this is your actual one. We're not here to sell skincare. This is the one we recommend. It is a mineral-based sunscreen. It has a tint in it, so it doesn't make your face all white. And that's really the key. The more you can protect yourself from the sun, the younger you're going to look.
And zinc and titanium oxide, that's what I tell people. Those are the two key ingredients that will really physically cover your skin and keep it looking young. So
right, the mineral protective barriers.
And this time of year, there's enough humidity where you don't need a ton of lotion. So I always say use a hydrator, and there is a difference between a hydrator and a lotion. And we can go, or a moisturizer.
Now you're speaking outside of men's knowledge. Let's simplify this.
So let's simplify.
What's a man's routine for the evening? So, wash your face with ivory soap.
No. So for men and women, use a cleanser, a good cleanser. I happen to really love the Noon cleanser these days. And right on top of it, a really good hydrator.
All right, let me speak to the men for a second about the first step, which is the cleanser. I would have very much said men are going to use soap because soap's there, or worse, men won't even use soap. But the cleanser is a great idea. And men, trust me, you're going to like it. The cleanser makes your face much cleaner, and it feels better. It just feels healthier. I'm a strong believer in the cleanser, absolutely. And not only because it's better, and I know all those things intellectually and recommend it, but it actually also feels better on your face.
So what I tell my women patients and my male patients, move it to the shower, right? So you're in the shower, have a couple of minutes where you're by yourself, showering. It's like your downtime, shampooing, whatever you're doing, use the cleanser, put it in the shower. Best if you have two separate cleansers, one in the shower and right by the sink. I thought you were going to say two
separate showers.
Well, that too.
But yes, keep it in the shower. It's effective. It's easy. That's when you'll use it. And as we all know, men wash their faces in the shower, if at all. So 2 is even better, but we'll be happy if they go with 1. Yeah. And then what else do we need to be using?
And then on top of that, a hydrator. So
what's the difference?
So moisturizer kind of moisturizes your skin on the outside, and that's great for the fall, for the winter, perfect for that. But now that we're in the spring, well, we're really essentially, summer is starting. It's June, so the best is to hydrate the skin. So the hydrator actually penetrates the skin and hydrates it from the inside. And that you should be doing year round. But this time of year when it's the summer and it's a good time to put that moisturizer on hold for a little bit. And at night, just hydrate the skin. In the day, hydrate the skin. But during the day, put that sunscreen on. And the sunscreen is also going to moisturize the skin. So keep it simple, stupid simple.
And what else do you have me using? You have me using a retinol.
Retinol is good, but let's not encourage retinol in the summer. So
what about for men? Like summer is only a couple of hours, as we talked about. So as a general rule for men.
So for men and for women, retinols are great twice a week. Twice a week, it really helps loss off the skin, the dead cells, and lets all that hydration get back into the skin. So that's good to use twice a week. But I usually start to push the retinols and all of that in the fall, in the winter again. So if you're already using a retinol, keep using it twice a week at night only. But if you haven't been using retinols, maybe this is not the right time to start with it. Wait until the fall.
Plan for the fall.
Yeah.
And retinols also are going to build collagen. I mean, they're vitamin A derivatives. They build collagen, and they work really well. So now let's talk.
So keep it simple, stupid simple. Use your cleanser, a hydrator, and during the day, SPF sunscreen. Done. Okay. I think that's really good for men and women.
Fundamental.
Done.
Yeah, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
You can go crazy with all the products. And now this is a general, remember, this is for people at large. And if you come see us specifically, you're possibly going to recommend something different based on what you see. Oh, for sure.
Because if you have hyperpigmentation, we'll want to get you something for hyperpigmentation. If you have a little bit redness, rosacea, everything like that. So you can go and give a lot of care to that skin, and it is very customized from one person to the next. That's 100% sure. But you want to start simple. So if you're not going to come see us this summer, for some reason, because your next appointment is in September, October, use your cleanser, use your hydrator, and then use your sunscreen with titanium and zinc. Done.
Okay. Now, who's your worst male patient?
Well, you, most of course.
Me. I knew you were going to say that, you see. So,
you led me
why are men tough patients?
Well, you know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Right. I'll tell you why. Because men, even though we're technically the stronger sex, we get a little bit nervous and we get a little bit overreactive to things like the tiny little needle pokes that go along with botulinum or fillers and things. And I know that for me, that was especially hard in the beginning, but I've gotten much better at it. I know you'll agree. And the secret I have found is to recognize that it's truly 2 seconds of mild discomfort. And then it makes you feel better. Yeah. In addition to looking better.
Well, men do produce testosterone, so it does give you more muscle. But that's about where the strength ends. Don't you think?
What are the differences in Botox for men and women? Why can't a man go see just anyone who does Botox and get it done?
So that's key, actually, what you just said. That's why in June we talk about Botox. So injecting a man is very different than injecting a woman. With women, we want the eyebrows up, and there are techniques to do that where you really get that nice eyebrow shape. It looks beautiful. But if you do that to a man, it looks off. Now, unless you are trying to feminize yourself. So there are men who want to feminize their faces. Definitely, we will know how to feminize your face, even if you are not doing surgery, if you're just doing it with Botox and fillers. But if you're not trying to feminize your face and you just want to get rid of those lines, the forehead lines or the 11s or the crow's feet, there are ways to inject a man and keep the eyebrow down and flat. And that's the key to injecting men. Keep that brow nice and flat. and then it looks very masculine, yet you just got rid of the 11s and the forehead lines.
That's right. And we do see some men who want a little bit more feminine look. And of course, we have long taken care of transgender women who want, obviously, to look as feminine as they are and feel. But for most men, it's more of a horizontal eyebrow, which would be a negative for a woman's face. And knowing these subtleties is all the big key to the whole procedure. Now, from my side of it, for masculine faces, we do a lot of eyelid surgery for men, because men, oftentimes it's the eyelids that start to look old the fastest.
Yeah. So if you're young, you can actually undo that hollowness under the eyes with just a tiny little bit of filler. Actually, one of my first TikToks that went completely viral, over 1 million views. Of course, you've had a couple of them since then with 4 and 3 million views. But I got my first one. I got my first one, and it was over 1 million views. And that was actually doing one of my male patients' under eyes fillers, the tear trough fillers. So that's a very
you're
common area.
You're one of the first people to be comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's right. So for younger men's faces, you can do that. But as you get older, that's not going to work. And you have to do a blepharoplasty. We do that right in the office with some local anesthesia. You come and go. Lots of people can work from home, and you'll be fine to go back to work the next day. You're just going to look a little bruised, perhaps, look a little puffy, and you get better fast. And the other thing we do a lot of course, is neck surgery for men.
Right.
Because sagging necks are annoying. No one likes that.
So that's where I see, men in their late 40s, 50s, they start, as women do, we start to sag a little bit. But men's faces tend to be a little bit wider and bigger, so that sagginess under the chin gets a little bit bigger. So if where once upon a time your only solution was a facelift or a neck lift, now you have other solutions like Morpheus, like Embrace.
Yeah,
Talk
the
to me a
earlier
little
you
bit about
come,
that.
the earlier you come, the better the options are, right? Like if you come very early, Morpheus is a great way to tighten the skin. If you have a little bit of banding, we can do botulinum there. If you start to have more medium amount of banding and you have no time for a procedure, the neck tight or Embrace just uses a single needle poke in a couple places under local anesthesia to tighten the skin amazingly. If you have a very full neck, we can combine that or substitute it with liposuction. And of course, there's a neck lift, and there's different types. For younger people, we'll do a neck lift with just a few stitches under the chin and no skin excisions. We just take out the fullness, and we did one of those yesterday, and we have a whole lot of pictures, I know, on drspiegel.com of those sorts of procedures. And then, of course, eventually you can get to a more full-on facelift, which, people love because it sets the clock back and it lets them to look exactly the way they feel. And at the Spiegel Center, we're happy that we've got Dr. Tower, who loves very much doing masculinizing procedures like jaw augmentation and chin augmentation, which we all do. But he can strengthen the jawline here and the cheek augmentation in ways that are specific for men versus women, because the whole cheek area is very different, and we'll probably talk about it another time.
And that's interesting you just said that, because I find that the biggest difference between men and women tend to come in for smaller procedures more often, I feel. Like they want little gradual improvements or more prophylactic treatments, whereas the vast majority of my male patients, unless they're kind of young and are in the know,
more informed,
and that's not everyone. I find that my male patients who are a little bit older, like let's say past their 40s, want like that quick, give me that facelift, let's get back to it. Or that sort of thing. Whereas women, they'll do the platysma neck bands and they'll do everything a little bit smaller increments until, it's time for that facelift. But I find that
men
the
don't have
difference.
it as part of their upbringing, as part of their knowledge base to be maintaining things and taking care of things. Hence my joke about a bar of soap earlier, because they're not taught, or they used to not be taught, how to take care of themselves.
So if we're talking about men, I think the biggest issue that men want help with is hair.
Or lack of hair.
Good one. Yeah, true.
So there's lots to do for hair. The right supplements. We can help people get on the right creams and ointments and pills and things. There's various formulations that used to be only oral, and now we can do them topically, as you know. And those can be very valuable for hair growth and hair preservation. And then, of course, there's PRP.
Yeah, PRP is great. Take a little bit of blood, draw some blood, spin it in centrifugation. You get the top layer. Talk to me about that, and then you inject that.
Yeah, it's all about taking the right products, the growth factors and the things out of the serum, and then putting it where you need it. So getting these extra nutrients by the hair helps the hair to grow. So PRP is a very easy thing. Like you said, it's a little blood draw as if you were getting your annual physical and they needed a little test tube of blood. We put it in the centrifuge and spin it into its various components. And then we poke it into the scalp where you need it, where there's less hair. And there are good studies on this. We like to only do things that have proven efficacy. Right. And PRP is one that's really coming to light now. We just had a paper published on this, actually.
Right. So that's really good to emphasize, because for a long time we stayed away from PRP for the face. Like there was that whole thing with the PRP facials and all the vampire facial. And we didn't see the results. Like there were no scientific papers to prove that it did anything. And I think the one thing that your patients always say, and everyone that's worked with you, Dr. Spiegel, we constantly say, you are so science driven. Like you are not going to bring something to the office because it's a trend or everyone else is doing it, so we have to do it too. Right. And I know that I work very closely with the coordinators, and we always like, oh, but this is really hot, Dr. Spiegel. Let's bring that to the office or something like that. And you're always like, let's hold back. Let's look and see what the science shows, and then let's explore it. And when you brought PRP, you were like very adamant. We're not using it as a vampire facial. We're only using it for hair growth, and it works.
Right. We want to use it where it works and how it works, because with a vampire facial, it's probably not doing anything. It's just making your face bloody and look bloody, which is sort of dramatic. And with PRP, it really does work. We have to make sure we're delivering value. So
yeah.
The last thing is, I know you wanted to talk to me about
Chad.
Yeah, what are Chads?
What are Chads?
Well, since it's men's plastic surgery we're talking about, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are aware of this, but a Chad is a person like me, a particularly very, very handsome man with particularly chiseled features. Why are you smiling? Anyway, I'm not sure it's me, but we all know who it is. The very, very chiseled faces with the strong jawline and the strong chin, maybe the cleft chin. And for people who've always wanted that kind of look, it can be achieved. And it's all a matter of changing the facial bone structure or allowing the facial bone structure to appear. So if someone has thicker tissue or a little bit of fat, we can reduce that with some of our techniques. Or if they have a smoother or smaller jawline, you can enhance it with jaw implants. I know that's one of the things I mentioned that Dr. Tower very much enjoys doing. And so if you're not a Chad but want to be a Chad, it's one of the things we can do.
Yeah. And I do a ton of them. Jaw fillers all along the jaw with a little bit of Nefertiti botulinum to get that really snatched, beautiful jaw. So women nowadays also want that snatched, chiseled jaw. So we do it for both men and women. Obviously for men, we want to put more fillers and make it a little bit heavier here, whereas women not necessarily. They don't want a heavy chin. They just want the under chin area to be a little more, tight.
What's the female version of a Chad? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Well,
but on that note, thank you for listening to Plastic Surgery Secret Talk.
If you like what you've heard and you want to learn more or get in contact with us, you can call us at 617-566-3223, or you can email us at info@drspiegel.com, or follow us on your favorite social media channel with @drspiegel. See you next time.